Hey everyone, back again with an update on Project CJ5. Got the front cross member in. It's not 100% complete, but it's in. It's welded in, secure. There's a little bit of cosmetic stuff that I really need to take care of. I'll take care of that a little bit later. Let me give you a close-up of some of this. You know, I've got this welded in here. There was the frame rivet holding the frame in there. I've got this weld here across the top. There was a crack here. I welded that in. Obviously you saw this where I repaired the frame here in the front. Did the same here on this side. A little bit different because this transition is smooth. It's seamless, whereas this one there's a big seam over here. I'm going to have to do some more work to this area. It's real sloppy. I couldn't really get in there with the MIG welder. I need to clean up this mess underneath here and make that right. But the frame's repaired. I'm really seriously thinking about pulling the engine out of this thing, especially now that I discovered some major problems. I'll figure that out here the next day or so, whether if I'm going to do that or not. Basically, let me see here. I can't turn on the light while I'm doing this. Let's see if we can show you. Nope. Let me turn on the light on the camera. I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, so as you can see here, the metal on the cross member has been eaten away here. And I could have probably tried to rebuild this whole section on the cross member, but I didn't want to do that because I needed this section here to make sure that my frame was lined up properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of 3/16 plate, which is much thicker than this stuff, and I'm going to cut a plate that'll go from here all the way in and butt up against here, and then I'm going to weld this up solid all the way around into the side of the frame rail. And then I'm going to weld up this area here across the top so that it's completely 100% sealed. Same on this side. This side doesn't need it. I could probably bridge that gap with a weld, but I'm going to, just to make it all match, I'm going to put the plate here as well. Again, bring it up over the top, seal that all the way up. Same thing on this side. I don't need it at all over here. It's real tight fit, but I'm going to do that. And then down here at the bottom, right here, I'm going to bring a plate across here, weld it all together, and again make this all seamless and clean. But let me show you where the problem I have is. I started on. Okay, so let me show you this rear section and show you what's going on here and why I'm so concerned with it. This is just crazy. This is what it looked like when I got it. Okay, you see this big plate here? We're probably looking at like, shit, 1/4 inch plate, looks like. And you would think, normally one would think, nice man, you put a nice big piece of 1/4 inch plate here, this ain't going nowhere, right? Wrong. Look here, there's also a plate here in front of this front spring hanger. There's one there. Piece of plate right here. There's also one right there as well. I know it's kind of hard to see, but you can see where it's welded here. Okay, this is what the problem is. When you look at this, everything's great. There's a gap here, okay? There's a big gap here. And that was my first indication that something was wrong. Because the spring bracket's here. Why is there a gap here? So salt and stuff can get in there and start rusting it out and then the spring hanger fall off. There's a big plate underneath the bottom here, but just from the spring hanger back. Same thing in the front. Spring hanger forward, nothing is attached to the spring hanger. So that's why I opted to cut it off. And now let me show you what kind of mess we got there. Let me grab a flashlight real quick. Yeah, let me grab the flashlight real quick. Could use the light on the camera, but I don't want to deal with the white balance freaking out. Okay, so I cut this off. And we got a huge mess underneath here, okay? A big mess. Sorry about the shaky cam, I'm trying to get you close shot. Here's a spring bracket here. Now let me show you something here. this bridge piece of metal, that's the outside plate. You see right here, this little edge of metal right there. That's the bottom plate that goes this way, right? That's where it starts. It doesn't even attach to the spring mount. And then right here, this plate, same thing. That's where it starts and goes this way. Okay, all this flaked up metal right here, that's the original frame. That spring mount is only attached to the original frame that's all rotted, okay? By the original rivets right here, you can see that bump. And the other one's underneath that flake of metal there. But that's all original frame that is just completely rotted out. Not to mention, look at all that shit inside the frame rail. Okay, they just covered this up. They didn't repair anything, they just covered it. They're like, oh, this is a mess, let's make this quick. And they just put a big piece of metal over it and just held it together to cover up a huge mess. This is like telling your kids to clean their room and they push it all under the bed. The problem we have here, not only is that they covered it up, but it's that frame, that spring mount, okay? Sorry that the camera white balance got all jacked up, give me a second. Okay, so, you know, sorry about that. Trying to get the white balance on this camera. This camera's really good, but the white balance on it is horrible. Anyway, back to the spring mount, you know. The problem is you know, they just covered this up in a very, very sloppy manner. Okay, it's dangerous. You cover that up with this big piece of 1/4-inch plate, and you know, I don't know if a shop did this or the previous owner did this. I don't know who did the work. I hope it was the previous owner, and the reason why I say that, because then he was just risking his own ass and not a shop risking somebody's life. Okay, because plating that over like they did is going to do nothing to reinforce that spring mount. And the spring mount's what's going to take all the abuse. You know, you're hitting bumps and that's constantly taking shots, you know, shock to that mount. And this stuff is rotted all the way out. It's only going to take so much before that bracket just falls off. You know, you lose that bracket, and it's a front bracket, it's not even a back bracket. You lose that bracket, and this axle is going to twist out of underneath you, and you got a short wheelbase CJ5. Let's say you're going down the freeway and you hit a pothole and it tears that out of there. You're going for a ride. You're probably going to end out upside down, and you know, God willing, you'll walk away from it, but who knows what it could turn into. You know, that's dangerous. So I'm just a little upset. I can't believe people do work like that. You know, my customer, when he brought this in here, didn't realize the extent of the damage, and I didn't realize it either, but that gap that I showed you on this side where the bracket was, where I was able to put my fingers in, that was a dead giveaway for me. I knew something wasn't right there, and I wanted to pull that plate off to see. You know, if it wasn't that big of a deal, it wasn't going to be that big of a deal, then I'll just patch it back up and it's nothing. But that's just, it's completely done. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is pull this engine and transmission. I'm going to talk to the customer because this is going to drag out a little bit longer than expected, but it needs to be fixed right. It just does. Okay, that's dangerous. That's absolutely dangerous. The damage that was here in the front of the frame is nothing compared to what's going on back here. Okay, this is absolutely dangerous. I'm going to have to do this in pieces or segments just to avoid any flex of the frame while I'm working on it, and I'm going to have to make sure that I mark my spring mount so that it gets put back exactly where it's supposed to be. And there's going to be a lot of upside down welding and plasma cutting, which is going to be a blast. Nothing like getting burned in your ears and stuff like that, but it's got to be done. I need to get the engine out of here simply because I'm going to want to pull all this plating out of here that's been repaired, quotes, finger quotes, and make sure that it's done right. Absolutely make sure that it's done right. I was going to build a new transmission cross member for this, but if I'm going to open this frame up like that, I'm just going to restore the original mounts on it, which is basically some nuts inside the frame that are welded in there so that you could just bolt the cross member up to the bottom of the frame. So I'll probably just restore that. On the bright side, let me show you something here. When Chrysler built these frames, you hear here, it's pretty solid. Tap on the inside, not so much. Very hollow sounding. Okay, that metal on the inside of the frame rail, it's not because it's rotted. It's just thinner. I mean, it is rotted a bit, but it's thinner metal. It was like that here in the front too. That's where I was showing you like some of the sloppy stuff. You know, I'm dealing with welding 3/16 plate to some really thin metal, which, you know, and at an awkward angle, I was dealing with some burn through and stuff like that. So if I can get this engine out of here, I can clean this up and make this 100% proper. It's just going to be a lot of cutting templates and a lot of plasma cutting each individual piece out with the, you know, with my trusty Everlast PowerPlasma 50. Great machine, by the way. Link below. I'll put a link below where you guys can buy that thing if you're interested in it. Great deal. Great machine. Hasn't let me down. There's going to be a lot of work by that thing. Cutting out the pieces that I need to just repair this frame properly. Like I said, luckily the outside of the frame is fine, and that's the main structure of it, so I shouldn't have to worry too much about the frame flexing, plus all the weight will be off of it, so I should be fine there. It's just going to be time consuming to rebuild all this and rebuild it properly. So we'll see. What I thought would be wrapped up here this weekend is going to at least drag out another week for me to do that properly. So I'll be talking to the customer, but I wanted to show you guys that. I know this has been a slow build for me, but it's got to be done right. You know, when this thing leaves my shop, I want it to look pristine. I don't want anything half-assed done to it, and I don't want it to look terrible. It's very important to me that everything is right on this. Okay, so anyway, subscribe, comment, like, and again, check out the link below if you're interested in this Everlast PowerPlasma 50. Great machine. I wouldn't tell you guys that it's a good machine if it wasn't. It truly is a good machine. The machine I'm welding with is my Everlast Power i-mig 200. Again, really good machine. Hasn't let me down. I'm getting ready to do a 1-year review video of this sometime in October. I bought this thing in October, and it's been working pretty much non-stop for a year. So I'm going to do a 1-year review on that, so look for that video here this coming month, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. I'll update you guys once I get some progress done, but you're probably not going to see a video for a little while. You know, there's a lot of work to be done to this frame, and I don't need to be messing around with videos. You see how bad it is, and the extent of work that I'm going to have to do to repair it. And stay tuned. All right, talk to you later. Thanks for the support, and thanks for watching the videos.